Welcome to Between the Poles, the podcast where we dive deep into the heart of the pole community. I'm your host, Caroline. Here, it's not just about the tricks and the spin, it's about the stories, the people, and the connection that make our community so special. Every episode, we sit down with pole artists, studio owners, and inspiring members of the communities to talk about their journeys, challenges, and passions. So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's get real. This is Between the Poles. Hi, Jen. Welcome to Between the Pole. It's so nice having you here today. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. Yeah, how are you?
Good. Thank you so much. You're so welcome. For people watching or listening, Jen and I are doing this in very different time zones. I'm in Canada. Right now it is 10 a.m. Jen, can you tell us where you're at and what time it is for you?
Yeah, I'm in Amsterdam, the Netherlands, and it's like 7 p.m. here right now.
So thank you so much for finding the time to chit chat with us. And I guess we'll get right into it. Usually when I have guests on the podcast, I always like asking, how did you find pole? How did you start pole? Like any details on that?
Details. I think there are like little seedlings in your life that put like little interests of pole into your mind. Like I remember being like on like a kite surfing vacation, and one of the girls there, she did like an Aisha upside down. I was like, okay, damn, I want to do that too. Like I did calisthenics, but I couldn't do that, and I was like, well, damn. And then another time, I received like a gift card for an activity. Like you can choose your activity, and then one of the things on there was like doing pole dance. So that was like another little seedling in my mind. It was like, pole dance, interesting thing. And then just one day I just tried a class and then fell in love with it.
So you tried in the studio?
Yeah, I did. I went to a studio.
How was that class?
I don't remember my first class, I think.
No?
I think it just, not really. I think it's just challenging, painful, but fun. So I was like, okay, yeah, let's keep doing this.
What do you remember what you really liked about pole? Because if you were already doing calisthenics, why stick to pole?
Well, when I started pole dancing, I did both calisthenics and pole dance because it's very similar, because it's both strength and doing things pretty and thinking about how should do the exercise correctly, which muscles to use. So that's very similar. Pole felt like an add-on to calisthenics. So I was like, okay, yeah, cool. What I loved about pole is maybe even more. So in pole, you also need even more like flexibility because we do more female stuff like bridges and stuff. Not a lot in calisthenics. It's more fitness style. And then in pole, you're like, all the way back there. So it goes more to extremes. Yeah, in the beginning, of course, I didn't really see that, but I was like, oh, pole also has handstands and also has like little upside down and climbing.
How did you start calisthenics?
Calisthenics. I think, well, I was already doing fitness. So I was already training with weights and machines and body weight training. And then don't know how I found calisthenics, but I guess I always did calisthenics because I did body weight. I always loved body weight training, and I did it for a while. And at some point, the internet showed me calisthenics. Yeah, so you start doing stuff with rings and parallettes and just floor and handstands and acrobatics and stuff.
And then how many years have you been poling now?
I think it's about 6 years now.
Okay, wow. And you stuck to it. So there's definitely something about pole that really fueled your, I guess, passion and soul. Yeah. I guess I already know the answer to this just by the way you've been speaking. But if you were already into fitness and then calisthenic and body weight exercise and gym exercise and all of that, I have a sneaky suspicion that when you started pole, you were already able to pull your body weight up, right?
Yes, I could already do like pull-ups, and I was already training for human flag and stuff like that. I couldn't do it, of course, but I was already training those things. So, yeah, but I'm not sure. I probably didn't do an invert like all upside down in first class, maybe second or third or something. And climbing, yeah, you need technique. It hurt too much or something. I think vaguely remember something like that, but it didn't take a lot of time. No, to get some strength.
So how was your journey from like you starting pole to you now? Because if you were already able to lift body weight and you had probably certain mobility as well, just by practicing calisthenics, how did you go from like a pole beginner to the level you're at now? Like what classes were you taking? How fast did you go through those levels?
I think I started with once a week because it just was so painful. So painful. My skin needed rest. Like, oh my God. So then my skin needed rest, but then I could do different calisthenics training or fitness or legs or whatever at the gym. So I'll combine it like that. And then I think it started with like the studio had like open month or open week or something. And then you can try all of the classes. You can try all of them. And that's very dangerous. And then I fell in love with all of the classes. And then I started doing more and more and more and more and more. Yeah. So then you do all kind of then you start, oh, let me try a stretch class, flexibility class. Oh, let me try a choreo class. Let me try exotic. Let me try this. And then it's like, oh, it's all fun. It's all fun. Oh, yeah, it's not good. It's not good. I need a bigger membership.
It gets addicting. I get that too. And I own my studio and I see a lot of students. And then exactly how you're saying, they start with kind of 1 a week, 2 a week. And then I tell them start with that because your skin and your muscles, and people are shocked at the amount of bruises they'll do when they start. And then when they get to kind of a certain level or if they've been doing it for a couple of months, obsession. Everybody wants to be here all the time. We want to take all the classes. I'm the worst at that too because I teach, but then I'm like, oh, I'll stay and I'll do a class. And then if somebody's like, oh, just stay for another one, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to stay for the other one too. And then I just keep on pulling.
I know.
Been filming with multiple guests at this point, and I want to remember to our viewers and our listener, do take a day off. Like, do rest once in a while. Your body needs it. Pole is amazing, but you do need to rest your body.
It's not healthy. Take rest. It's better.
Yes. And then I kind of wanted to ask you as well. So I'll put in the caption of this episode your Instagram handle and everything, and people can go and follow you and kind of have a look at what you do. But in your own words, could you describe what your style is when you do tricks, when you do choreo? What do you enjoy most, and how would you describe that?
My style, I'm an all-around pole dancer, so I can do everything, but I tend to lean more towards power stuff. So I love static pole and I love acrobatic stuff, flips, handstands, crazy combos, lots of power stuff or static spins or stuff like that. I keep going back to those. But occasionally, sometimes I do spinning and I do a pretty pose and different pretty poses on spinning or floor, or I do a lot, but I tend to love power moves. Also, when I see online, I'm like, yes, I want to learn that one. That looks cool. It's a lot of power, and then I try and I'm like, oh, that's a lot harder than I thought.
And when you do choreo, what would be your style in choreo? Do you do any of the choreos?
I love hard style, so I do faster choreos, especially now that I dance a lot of hip hop now.
Mm-hmm.
So much faster than pole stuff. So if I now make a choreo for pole, people are like, oh, what the? It was already fast. So I was a bit forced into, okay, you're going to teach exotic hard style choreos. I'm like, what is that? And then just had to develop myself in that style. But I love it. I love more, faster, a little bit more, I don't know, aggressive style of dancing instead of the super slow. I cannot handle the super slow. It's too slow for me. So I love faster paced or like hip hop or rap or something with a beat you can dance on and catching those little details on the songs. Yeah.
Would you say that's how you started as well? For like when you started pole, do you feel like power trick is what you enjoyed from the start, or did you kind of build to that?
In the beginning, I just followed classes, and my teacher saw I was strong, and she basically already gave me things that normal people wouldn't consider as a beginner. She was like, "Hmm, she's strong," and then she gave me hard stuff already. Like, but also, yeah, I was strong enough to do it. And sometimes I look back and like, why'd you give me that trick? That was, but still, I went for it. If you tell me to do something, I go for it.
And then when did you start taking choreo class? And did you like it from the start, or did you kind of slowly fall in love with it?
We didn't have a lot of choreo classes. Like in the beginning, um there were not a lot of classes. Like it's grown a little bigger now in Amsterdam. So when I was taking class, I could only do like during the day because in the evenings I worked, so I couldn't do evening classes. So that's already trickier. But there was not a lot. There was more strip plastic classes, so no pole, just floor, sexy floor stuff. So it was more like that. Yeah. So I started with like sexy floor dances, and the funny thing is that one of the basically like a challenge. We had like 3-week challenges that you have to make like a choreo, and my first one was just tricks or sport, whatever. And the second one, I was pushed into, okay, you're gonna do an exotic choreo, and I was like, but you don't even have exotic class. Like, how am I supposed to do this? And it was like, I'll show you some moves and you'll just figure it out while you're doing it. I'm like, okay. I was always pushed into really weird, little bit over your head situations. Like, just try it, just do it. So I didn't have a lot of classes. I was just trying to figure it out a lot on my own to figure it out. Yeah. And then when I grew and I could do also some dancing, then there were teachers who were also doing choreos. I'm like, oh, now I can join it.
Do you still pole at the studio you started out? So you moved, or that studio kind of closed, like, and then are you still
Nah,
studio?
something bad happened, and now,
Oh, okay.
yeah, no
Do you still
connection
go
to the
to
studio.
studios to train?
I don't go to studios to train. No. Well, I don't know how it is in other cities or in other countries, but I've reached out sometimes to other studios to be like, hey, can I like rent your studio to train or to bring some friends to train or to rent it for a workshop? And then they were like, no. I was like, what? Why? Why can't I rent your studio? So they have their studio open for rental, but not for pole dancers, which is weird in my mind. Like I don't fully understand. I guess you're scared of competition, but it shouldn't be. So whenever you had like email conversations with people and they're very like, no, you're not welcome here, even just to rent a studio and to train, then I'm like, okay, well then, bye. So I just train at home.
How long has it been since you've trained at the studio? Like, went to take a class for yourself?
To take a class, no, that's really long ago.
Really? You
To
not miss?
take a class? Yeah, I don't remember.
Why did you stop taking classes? Is it because you kind of reached a level and then like you needed specific training?
Yeah, yeah, I needed high, like my level was too high, so it was boarding class basically.
Yeah. How do you train yourself now though? Like, how do you keep on improving?
I just train at home, and you have Instagram for inspiration. Like everyone, I had like saved so many tricks, and then I'll just okay that one today, and then I'll just try and train it. Or sometimes I just freestyle it. I'm like, oh, I got a nice idea to train all kinds of whatever. Let's say it's splits. Okay, let's try 5 different splits, and then I just force myself to be creative in that kind of way, or be like, okay, let's try 4 different tricks starting from a handstand like this. Yeah, no, try it. Or be like, okay, I'm gonna do 5 flips a day, stuff like that. So either I get inspiration from a video online, or I force myself into okay, kind of making a class, but for myself.
How often do you train?
Funny thing is, I haven't touched the pole in a while now. For a couple of weeks, which is crazy. Yeah, I'm just like I rolled last year into hip hop dancing, so I'm dancing hip hop every day now. So I kind of rolled into that. So now I'm like looking at my pole, like should use you again. rolled a little bit out of it for a couple of weeks. So that's the first time that I haven't really texted for that long.
Yeah.
What was the question?
That was it. That was my question.
Oh.
And then I was going to ask you, I know a lot of students, and then I will include myself into that. I like going to class. I like a teacher telling me what to do and then having like spots and stuff. How are you staying consistent on your training? Like, because right now you say, like, oh, I haven't trained pole in a couple of weeks. How do you get back to it? And then let's say you say like, oh, I save on tricks on Instagram. We all do. I also have a folder and there's way too many tricks on there that I'm never going to get around to doing all of them. If you're trying to figure out a trick and you can't figure it out, then do you have other friends that can help you out? Or do you reach out to a teacher? Do you take class online? Like, how do you do it?
Figure it out on my own. I'm very stubborn like that. So I know when I see a trick, I usually already know if it's going to be very challenging, or I'm like, let me just try if it's somewhat doable, or if it's 100% no, maybe in a few years. Or sometimes I'm like, oh, that's just a variation. This is just cool variation. I should be able to do that. So I'm able to see that. So no, I just do it again and again and again and again. But maybe also because for a long time, even before I trained at home, and even so at the time where I was wanting a spot or a trainer to be like, hey, you can do it like this and this, I didn't have it. Like, there was no class or no teacher who could show me. Like, I need a spot, and then nobody could do a spot. I was like, well, but so I was like, okay, I want to be able to do a flip. I want to. So I just teach myself, okay, if I go like this, one hand on the floor and then one leg over there, I need some mats around. Let me just do it again and again, and then build up confidence, and then find a way how to eventually do it. Yeah.
You ever fallen out of something like really badly?
I guess I don't know. I guess it's not really badly. There was like this cartwheel, and I was able to do it before. And then one day I tried it again, and then I just fell like face down, bam. And I was like, huh? What? I was like, how the fuck did that happen? Like, I couldn't understand. So I did it again, and I fell again, and I did it again, I fell again. I was like, what am I doing? What's the difference? I could do this before. So those were pretty hard falls. Those were not a joke. But I've never really like fell on my head or something. I'm pretty quick at like catching or having a hand on the floor. Like I did martial arts before, so I have a smack reflex or a grab reflex. So yeah, because if you're being thrown, you grab your partner not to fall on the floor. Now it's just grab the pole not to fall on the floor, or you put your hand on the floor not to smash your face. No, it's always a hand or a foot. Yes, have I twisted an ankle or bruised a finger? Yes, but nothing major crazy.
All right. And then kind of in the same direction as well, I follow you on Instagram. That's how I reached out to you today. How did that start? Because you have quite a following nowadays. I guess we'll go like deeper in it because I have like 100 questions about it. One, how did you start on Instagram? How about that?
I think if you scroll back all the way to the beginning, it's not pole. I think it's boot camp. It's me doing like a hit training or something. So the very first is not even about pole. It's still about training. So I was already posting like training stuff, and then I posted probably things like calisthenics or boot camp videos or whatever. And then when pole started, I think I just started posting. One of the first things I posted is probably like my 3-week challenge. So when I had to make like the whole choreo and all the tricks, and then I posted that. But I'm not sure if that's there because it's a Instagram feature that they deleted, the longer videos. And then I don't know. Yeah, it's just how I do my normal training. I used to do it before too, but there was not that good of internet, so I didn't post it online. So I just recorded my trainings basically at the end of the class, like everyone kind of does now at the end of the class. You put your phone, you record what you did, and then I just put it online. But somehow it rolled into a better video, especially during Corona. I was just training by myself, or when I was training in the afternoon, I would be like the only student there. So I had like this PowerPoint with one of the guy teachers, and he was like, "Oh, we make a video of you. You can go around and make like a shot or something." You kind of get rolled into it also by other teachers, like, "No, it needs to be pretty." And you kind of roll into making it look more pretty, but kind of it was more of a library for myself to be like, "Oh, this is cool. You can do this again." Otherwise, you forget everything. So
You post it.
more, yeah. I have also other like martial arts stuff. Well, I think it's thrown away because it's so old. But I would record trainings and then to be able to remember stuff. So I guess it's the same with pole. It's kind of how I roll into it. But then people started following more and more and more and more.
Why post it though? And you're pretty consistent on the posts you make. So what's the thought process behind that? Do you tell yourself like, oh, I got to post every couple of days? I got to post every week? How do you choose what you will post?
Good question. How do I choose? For a long time, I just film what I train. So it's just a recording of what I train. And apparently I train pretty interesting. not boring. So I get bored a lot. So I train very variously. So one day I do this, and one day I do that, and then even in one training, okay, let me try this part. Okay, now I do this, now I do this, and then record everything. So sometimes I have days that I record 3 or 4 tricks, and then you can post it for 4 days, basically. Sometimes especially with like the bigger carousel pose with multiple things, then I think about it like, hey, what can be interesting to watch? But the shorter ones are usually just me training, vibing, just put my phone there, recording, and then like a cool piece out of it. But the carousel pose with multiple tricks, it usually mean like, oh, okay, let's do whatever trick or something cool. Yeah, I just think in a way like, hey, what do I want to be creative in what kind of point? So it's like a challenge for myself. I basically make a challenge for myself. Same as how I did fitness. It's like I make a challenge. Do 200 step-ups, do whatever, do as many push-ups in a minute. Like a challenge. Same as in pole. Okay, let's do this static spin, but do it like this and then go out like that. And now sometimes I think like, okay, what will they like? What would I like if I'm searching on internet? Like maybe some more beginner moves, or maybe some whatever. So usually I pick a topic and then be like, oh, okay, then yeah.
What videos do you feel do the best or perform the best?
Next question. Can you ask me again?
Just for people listening, Jin has a dog. So
Yeah. Come here. Go. I'll show you. Come. He was just chewing on his bone.
Wait.
Here, it's Tonic.
What's his name?
Tonic.
Tonic, such a good boy. I was asking, what videos do you feel perform the best on Instagram, on your platform?
People like the carousel pose. So when it's lots of information to save it, I guess lots of information or whatever. And sometimes I really don't know. I'm like, sometimes I like this one, and then people don't like it, or I'm like, this one's so boring, but I'll post it anyway, and then it goes viral, and I'm like, why though? It's just another trick. Yeah, so I think things they haven't seen a lot goes a little bit more viral, but also sometimes when Instagram just doesn't hate you, sometimes Instagram is just hating on you for a moment or for months, or if you do tricks with too much skin, he always hates that. So nowadays I try more clothes, even though you can't do certain tricks with so much clothes on, so it gets harder.
Yeah. I love that you said that, because I was filming with another guest, and then she was saying that she was posting a lot and it was doing fine. And then she posted a shoulder mount conditioning exercise, and that went viral. And she was saying of everything she posted, like a shoulder mount conditioning is pretty boring to look at. And she can't believe that just caught up, and then a bunch of followers followed her from that video.
Yeah, you really don't know which video is gonna be a good one. That's why I'm saying I'm not really posting for you guys. I'm just filming my trainings. I'm sorry. I'm just recording what I do. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, you don't. I'm not too worried about it. if people like it. Like I don't earn any money from Instagram, like zero. Like
Yeah.
I get nothing out of it. It's just a collection of videos, and you can follow and enjoy me in my journey.
I feel like I followed you and I started looking more at your page for two different things. One, I think you're right when you said, I feel like you train or you post stuff that I don't see very often, right? Because you see butterflies, you see handsprings, and those ones you see a lot, right? And there's 101 variation. Everybody's posting like different entries and exits and stuff. But I feel some of the tricks you post, I'm like, oh, I don't think I've ever actually seen that before. And then two, I wouldn't describe myself as somebody who works a lot on power moves. So when I do want, I feel like I need to go on Instagram and look at people who aspire. And I'm like, oh my God, she's so far ahead. Where can I start to maybe one day get there? So I love your page for that. Also the crazy acro. And and in my mind, like as a teacher, I'm like, how do we get there? How do we train for this? And that's how I found your page and I followed you. And hey, you've got like over 50,000 followers. So I know other people like that too.
Other people are like, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
watch some of your stuff, Jin, and I'm like, how is the body? And then, you try to do it a little bit. And then I'm like, there's no way you can get all that. And you just make it look amazing.
Thanks. Yeah. Yeah, my specialty actually is to break things down into easier things. So sometimes, and not a lot, because a tutorial, that's really like valuable information. So sometimes I'm like, yeah, if you want a tutorial, pay me for it. So I don't post a lot of tutorials, but if I do like online personal trainings on pole and people are like, that move, I want to learn that move. And I'm like, okay, let's cut it into pieces and make it into something that you can do. And then I try to copy their mistakes, because online is a little bit harder. You can't spot them or anything. So I like to copy their mistakes and be like, okay, yeah, if you do it like that, it's like super heavy. Don't do that. Do like this. So that's how you can train them. Like I try to mimic people's mistakes and I'd be like, okay, this is how you try. No, that's not the right way. Try another way. Yeah. Yeah. So I love breaking harder stuff down. That's why I'm saying like I figure shit out myself. So when I see a harder move, I'm like, okay, but I know something that looks like it, and if I then do this and this and this and that, then maybe I could make it. And then train, and then boom. Yeah.
I also have to say that you're pretty well-rounded polar, right? Like I feel like good range of motion, good flexibility, good strength and ability to balance, which I'm impressed because a lot of the time I feel like we kind of train what we like and what we enjoy. So I feel like a lot of people that really enjoy power move, they're a little stiffer, right? They're really on muscle and they have a harder time like with splits or with handstand balances and stuff like that. I feel you're really well-rounded, and I'm wondering if it's because you train a little bit of everything or it's because you've always been like that. Because calisthenics, there is a lot of mobility. There's a lot of body weight that goes into that. And a lot of the sequences in calisthenics require strength, but also flexibility and mobility and balance, because there's a lot of handstands and all those drills. And I feel maybe you kept kind of that going throughout your pole. Would you agree?
Yeah, so that's why I love pole dance. That's why I love calisthenics. It's because you have so many aspects. So you could, if you're like, nah, not today's strength, but that's usually not what I say. I have no strength. But I love training flexibility. Like I also did gymnastics, so I had to train flexibility for that too. And if you do calisthenics, you need to have your handstand, or you need your L shape, then you need your shoulder mobility. So when I did like courses on rings and stuff, like rings and skin the cat, there's so much shoulder flexibility you need for that. So it goes one in one. But I also just loved going to like a stretch class. Like I did not start in splits. People, come on. Was not born like this. I had to train my split back to splits so many times, like 3 times. I had my split, I lost it because of an injury. And I had my split, I lost it because of an injury. And I was like, dang it. Am I losing my like, am I having injuries because I train like badly for splits? And now finally, I don't really train that much flexibility anymore, but it kind of stays at a certain level. Yeah. So now I'm like, thank God. It's kind of leveled out into my splits.
Can I ask you, what do you feel naturally agreed with your body? Because I just said like you're pretty well-rounded polar. What do you feel like naturally your body, would it be more strength, more flexibility, more balance? Like, what do you feel your body has an easier time working on?
One, I don't like easy. So if it's easy, I'm like, okay, that's boring. So I love a challenge. So if it's challenging flexibility wise, or if it's challenging strength wise, or if it's challenging balancing wise, I'm like, okay, let's do this. Let's try it. And if it's a combination of all, I like it even more. I like a challenge. So I don't care what my body thinks is easy or doable, because I will search for a challenge when it's easy.
All right.
I like
I
that.
wanted to circle back to your platform, Instagram. Where did all those followers come from? Like, how did that build up? Was it kind of slow, or do you feel like a couple of videos really got you some traction? How did that happen?
Don't know. I don't know why so many people follow me. It's like, there was never the goal to have like a big following. Like, again, I was just recording my trainings, and I guess it started going bigger. Of course, some videos go viral and then you get lots of followers from them, but I don't exactly remember which ones. Nothing went super crazy like that. There were periods though, like, so during Corona, I started training by myself. So then you had prettier videos basically, and I did the trick prettier because in class I do it 5 times, for example, and then I record it. And then when I train by myself, I do it 50 times and then you record it. So there's a big change in how it looks. So that, and then I just posted every day because I was bored as fuck. So you just train, and you record and you post. People ask me, why do you have so many followers? I'm like, I don't know. Like, for a long time, I posted every day. I like post one post every day. That was the goal. I don't know, to just throw it out there, just gradually grow a following.
Can I ask you why? Because earlier you said you don't make any money off of Instagram. So then why build such a following? Are you able to monetize that at all?
No, also, I don't want to. I could, people are like, yeah, you should make tutorials, you do online classes or whatever. I'm like, I can, but right now I have a business. I'm a personal trainer and I do sport massages, and it's doing really well and I'm earning good money. And I'm like, I can put so much time and effort into making a website and tutorials. Like, I have videos of whole courses like on my phone to put out there, but didn't. Yeah, because I've tried some stuff and then it didn't catch on. And like, I'm putting so much time into recording these things, and then I earn almost nothing out of it because you need to pay for administration, whatever you need to pay for. I'm like, it's not adding up. I'm putting so much time and effort into this BS and I'm not getting anything out of it. I'm like, oh, and then my other business like personal training and massages, they get busier, and I'm like, oh, old stuff. So I could, but also I don't think my followers, it's a different thing to put your followers into spending money, giving you money. It's a different thing than Instagram. People like free stuff. People like free tutorials. Those things go viral. Free tutorials. But yeah, I don't give, like, that's also why you don't hear me talking a lot in my videos. And like, if you really want to know, then you gotta either go for a personal training or really request a tutorial, and I'll make you one and I'll send you one. But you have to, if I'm giving you a free tutorial, it's like, okay, fine, you can have it free. I feel like sharing some knowledge, but it's not really on the regular.
I do like that you're so open about it, because I do have a lot of guests that have platforms and stuff, and then I kind of wondered, right? And I think this is good also for our listeners and our viewer to hear, right? Maybe it's not for everybody to have a online platform, and the amount of work that takes, and then maybe also the amount of time it would take to see any kind of return to it. And it's also all right to pole and be known in the pole world, and then still maybe just not aspire to make a living out of it, right? And that's all right too. I feel like I've touched up on this in this season, but we all kind of chase the next big trick. And I feel when you get to a certain level, a lot of people chase the can I make a living off of pole? And I really enjoy that you're so honest about the fact that it takes a lot of time and effort, and you're actually successful outside of pole. And you're like, yeah, I don't want to make the switch. I like what I do. I love what I do. I like filming myself and putting it out there, but I'm not doing it to gain fame and live off of pole, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. If you love doing that, and go do it, but I also don't like, I'm not a performance poler. I don't like to do competitions or shows, or I love teaching and I love training, and that's it basically. Oh, when I was teaching so many classes, like multiple classes a day, like every day. I tried to have like one rest day, which probably wasn't a rest, but yeah. And now that I said goodbye to that, I earn so much more. So I'm like, why? I love teaching, but the hustle is so big, and my body was so damaged by so much bowling. Like, it was so overtrained. Oh my god! Now my body's healthy. Now I'm happy.
How did you start teaching pole?
How to start teaching? So I was already a personal trainer, and I was already Tonic's getting crazy. He wants to play. I was already a personal trainer. Yeah, there he is again. He wants to play, but then he's gonna make noises. I was doing fitness group classes or different kind of group classes, and then Corona hit and chaos, blah blah blah, blah. And then I was like, hey, to the studio owner, like, hey, teach me how to teach pole. And then she was like, yes, finally she wants to be a teacher here. So then she was teaching me, okay, like this. And I was like, I like followed every class and then tried to catch up on cues and how to teach people pole dance. And that's kind of how I do it. So I'm not like, I was experienced teacher, but not teacher in pole. So I had to learn the right cues and the right things to do with pole dance, because I was like, I can see something's wrong, but I can't see what. And then I had to learn, like, oh, the hand is wrong, or the distance is wrong, or that is wrong, or the grip is wrong.
How much do you teach nowadays?
Zero.
So unless people reach out and are like, hey, could we train online or whatever, then you're not teaching.
Yeah, so I have online, so I don't do group classes. So I don't do group classes. So I teach online one-on-one, or I teach when they come here. I have a client that comes here twice a week also, which is fun. It keeps me a little bit onto the pole, but no group classes. Yeah.
That's all right. I love that. I would agree with you. I'm still at this stage, and maybe fellow pole owners out there will agree. I'm still at the stage in my studio, like, I try to tell myself I'm going to teach less, but then I end up teaching so much that I feel sore every day. And I'm like, this year is the year where I'm telling myself, like, I need rest. I need because yeah, when I teach, maybe not like intro to pole classes and stuff like that, but as soon as I teach like harder classes, like advanced classes, intermediate classes, and you do a lot of reps as teachers, right? Because students are like, oh, where do you put your hand? What's that cue? Where's your leg at? How are you doing this? What's the transition? That I find myself redoing these moves so much that I am sore after a day of teaching. And especially like I teach multiple class each day, like in a row. The day after, I'm like, oh, my poor body. And then I still want to train for myself. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sore. I'm tired. So it's hard to train for myself as well and reach the things that I want to reach from, like, when I'm already so tired.
Yeah, it's not healthy. But I think it's most studio owners, not necessarily pole, but also like I've seen martial arts teachers and whatever. Like, if you get injured, they're like, I can't be injured because I have to teach. There's no option. There's no other teacher. I have to teach. So that's so damaging for the body. And that if you're considering on being a studio owner, you have to realize that your sacrifice is your body. Sure. If you're not willing to do that, then calm your ass down. Yeah, It is
It's
very, very healthy. Yeah.
a really good kind of thought that you have there. And I would say even just as pole teachers, because I know a lot of us get to a certain level and then people are like, oh, are you going to start teaching? But you also have to take a second to think that if you start teaching, the amount of time you're going to have to train for yourself really decreases. And then that's kind of what I tell my teachers too. I'm like, yeah, at some point you'll see students that are like, I want to teach. Tell them like, you can teach, like, right? Everybody can teach if you like get to a certain level and you know the tips and the cues, but you have to realize the amount of time that's going to take away from your own personal training and like the toll it takes on the body to teach new stuff all the time. Like it's a lot. I wanted to touch up, Jin, on what is your next goal? Like, what are you training for yourself right now that maybe you're struggling with? Like, what's your next big goal?
Don't really, like, I'm never really in, I don't know, I'm in a time in my life that I'm not, big goals. I'm like, nah, just do one more rep. It's like, it's always one more time. But then one more time turns into 100 more times. Do it one more, one more, one more, one more, one more, one more, one more. I don't think I'm going to do this for a month or a week because I won't. So, I can't hold myself into that. But I will push myself into training. But any big goals? Not really. Also, I haven't touched the pole this year, so it's just been 12 days. But I feel it feels weird. I cannot put myself into a trick that takes 2 or 3 months, or I get bored. But I do 2 trainings and then I'm like, oh, what's this doing? I'm so distracted. And then 2 weeks later, I'm like, oh, it's going to train that. Oh, well. Then I go back to something else. But I did saw a video and then I was like, maybe this year it's time for Punji. I was like, maybe. So
I feel like
maybe that
is a one for advanced people. You're not the first guest saying that they
Saying
want to
that.
work on Fonji. I feel it's such a big milestone. Like it's just such a trick, but it's such a hard trick.
You really, but it's a trick you really have to go train for. I'm not good at that, but yeah, probably just more. But it's again power stuff, like acro, and there's some power hops and ice shine. Those are like cool things to train for. Yeah, just all these like guy tricks, like turning around it and grabbing the pole again. Whoa, it's so cool. But there are no big goals in pole, or maybe just creating more hard style choreography. Maybe I don't even want to choreograph pole. Maybe I just want to do without pole. I don't know. But nothing. I'm like, I have to do this year. No, I'm not like that.
Okay. And then I kind of wanted us to move up to the last segment that we call the last grip, where it's just fun questions. They're not as deep, so you don't have to give as much details. You can if you want, but they're easier questions. Are you ready, Jen, for the last grip?
Yeah, let's go.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Oh, I think you're the first guest who said that now.
Really? All you coffee heads? Oh my god. No, I do not drink coffee at all.
I film in different time zones, right? So I have a couple of guests that are in Europe. So by the time I film in the morning, it's late on. They're still sipping on coffee. And I'm like, how are you going to sleep tonight? It's like 8 p.m. and they're sipping their...
Probably if somebody's going to give me coffee, I'm going to be bouncing all day because I never drink coffee. I'm like, da, 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 da. They already have a lot of energy, so that's not going to go well.
Do you have a favorite song right now to dance to?
You know, I play music all day long. So it's not necessarily a favorite song but I dance so much. So even in I dance on choreos for like 3 hours a day. And there could be different songs or it could be the same song. And then I listen to music and I vibe on my own music. So there are too many songs. Like I don't keep repeating one song if they're all different.
Okay. What is your most loved pole outfit or accessory?
I think right now it's my sticky leggings, like fake leather sticky leggings, because Instagram approved of my leggings and I can stick to the pole and I can do more tricks that are need skin, but you don't need skin for.
Yeah. Heels or barefoot?
And barefoot.
How can you give us one word to describe your relationship with pole?
How?
That's a good spin or static?
Static.
Choreo or tricks?
Tricks.
Morning practice or evening practice?
Evening. No, afternoon.
Right. Love or hate conditioning?
I love it.
Can you tell us 2 or 3 of your favorite polars or people that you look on Instagram a lot or anything like that?
Not really. Like again, same as tricks or music. I don't have favorites of anything. I like variation. So there are certain people who I love for certain things. Like some people are good at static spins and some people are good at like flips. Yeah, I watch a lot and like I get inspired from them from just seeing them on Instagram coming by, but I can't like throw names out there.
Do you have a nemesis move?
I hate Superman. I can do it now. It took me 6 years, but I still don't like it. People are like, teach me Superman, and I look at them like, you want to? Yeah.
What is your favorite move?
Sorry?
What is your favorite move?
No. Again, it's a favorite. I don't have favorites.
Let's say power moves.
Maybe Aisha. Maybe Aisha.
Okay. Aisha's a really good one. I love a good Aisha as well. All right, Jin, that's all for today. Thank you so much for being with us in Between the Poles. And I will put down in the caption for our viewers and our listeners, Jin's Instagram. Make sure you give her a follow. Amazing tricks. So if you want to aspire to crazy things, that is the page to follow.
Well, thank you for having me again. It was fun. Really fun talking to you.
So welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in to Between the Poles. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. Stay connected with us on social media, and we'll see you next time right here, Between the Poles.